That's okay. I guess first of all, can you say and spell your first and last name?
Erin, E-R-I-N, Lynn, L-I-N-N.
And your title?
No title.
First of all, I know you're probably aware of the ordinances where discrimination against the LGBT community is okay in some townships, but how does it impact the fact that other townships are kind of getting on board with not allowing that?
There's no ordinances that prohibit or allow, or I should say allow LGBT discrimination per se. It's just that there's no law in Michigan specifically prohibiting discrimination against LGBT people. It's all goes back to the Elliott-Larsen Civil Rights Act in Michigan, and that protects certain classes of people, but LGBT people are not one of those classes. There are certain townships and municipalities in Michigan who have wanted to expressly say that we do not tolerate discrimination against LGBT people, and they have passed ordinances prohibiting discrimination in housing and employment. East Lansing was the first city in the nation to pass such an ordinance in 1972 or 1973. I think that our society is changing, and I think that municipalities are recognizing that their LGBT employees contribute and contribute well to our society, and they want to send a message that the intolerance is not acceptable. And I think that's why a lot of municipalities are wanting to do the right thing and send the right message to the people that they serve in their communities, as well as the employees that work for them to help serve the community.
Yeah, can you hold the mic?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right there's just perfect.
Okay.
And can you talk about how you've been impacted, maybe as an employee, being part of the LGBT community?
I believe that I was not hired for one job and did not get rehired for a different job due to my sexual orientation. I've always been very open and honest about who I am, and I think that in a couple situations that did like I said, prevent me from getting one job, and I had a job that I didn't get rehired for, and it was like a seasonal thing that I didn't get rehired for. Proof is very difficult. Very few people are willing to come out and say that's not why they're rehiring you. And I don't know what their fears are for doing that, because in the state of Michigan, at the statewide level, there is no recourse for them. Should they choose to not hire or fire you because of your sexual orientation, your gender identity, or the perception of those things, that's perfectly legal for them to do. It does create a sense of fear for somebody to either keep them in the closet, to deny or keep their sexual orientation or gender identity quiet. And then for those people like me who may be out, there's always a question in the back of your mind: is my sexual orientation affecting my coworkers' perception of me, my chances for promotion, and my, how is it going to affect my job reviews? Because your supervisor may have biases. So there's always those questions. In addition, we also are affected by benefits packages, insurance, estate planning. All those things come into play when all these laws don't necessarily prohibit the discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity.
And can you talk about some more things that you miss out on, with the whole with same-sex marriage and not being able to legally right now?
I can't tell you all of them. There's 1,138 things that somebody in the Congressional Budget Office at our national level went through and determined that there were 1,138 rights associated with being married. So obviously I can't go into all of them, and I can only share what's affected me personally. But personally, not being able to get married does not allow me to file joint taxes. It does not allow my spouse to get the benefit she would be entitled to if I were to be killed in the line of duty. I'm a police officer, so if I were to be killed in the line of duty, the federal government pays out a survivor benefit, which she is not entitled to because we cannot get married in Michigan. A lot of our friends say, why don't you go to another state and get married? Well, Michigan does not recognize out-of-state same-sex marriages, so it would really do no good when it comes to these type of economic things. I have a employer-provided health plan. I have a male co-worker who actually works, his wife works with my partner. They work together. And our health plan allows him to go on to her health plan and opt out. And our township still is required to provide that benefit. So he gets a cash payout every month, simply because he has the option to go on his wife's health plan. Because we cannot get married, I do not have that option. There was a short time in Michigan where universities were providing same-sex partner benefits, which we could have gotten. However, they're taxed, which heterosexual spouses don't get taxed when they go on their spouse's health plan. So even though we had an option for a while to do that, we got taxed on it, which heterosexual folks did not. So there's financial impacts as well. And like I said, the death benefit for law enforcement is an issue. Filing joint taxes is an issue, as well as the health care option with my particular situation. I don't have children, but if you have children, if you have a family, providing for your family is a huge concern. And if I can't have my partner adopt my children, or vice versa, that creates big hurdles when trying to plan financially for your children's future and their welfare and safety. So the marriage issue also extends to same-sex or same-gender parent adoption, and that's also part of the recent case in Michigan.
And do you think with same-sex marriage being on the verge of being legal, probably sooner than later, do you think we'll see changes in the workplace too?
I hope we're on the verge of the case getting passed in the Court of Appeals, the judge's decision getting upheld in the Court of Appeals. I'm very hopeful of that. That seems to be the way our society is going right now, realizing that equality for all people is important in our country. Unfortunately, Michigan's a little bit behind in that. But I am hopeful that it will get upheld in the Court of Appeals. I think that we will see changes at a statewide level in all employers at that point if the law passes. I think there's a fear among employers that it will really hurt them deeply economically. I think that's an unwarranted fear. I don't think that there is that large of a change if the same-sex couples were to all get married. I think initially it's going to be a change for some employers. There's going to be some struggles in implementing policies and procedures that are equal for everybody, but it's something that needs to be done. So I anticipate a lot of change, positive change, and I, for one, am willing to work through the bumps and help people. I've always been out my entire career, so between me and my coworkers, I don't see there being any changes on their day-to-day work.
No problem. So
It's going to be at the administrative level,
I'm getting in an elevator right now.
where they have to rewrite policy and procedure.
All right, see you.
And I think that it's a long time coming.
I think that covers it.
Okay.